Hello and welcome to the 6 o'clock club. We have video, we have Christian. That's all I need in my life at the moment.
What more do you want? Video and me.
Yeah. The tech is kind of working. Feels like it's been gaffer taped together, but if it's working, it's working. That's the important thing.
Duct tape and hope.
Yeah. So apologies for yesterday's 6 o'clock club. It was very much a tester, ready for last night's actual play, but we got there in the end, and we're back and rolling again now. So fantastic stuff. So firstly, a big thank you again, Christian, for all of your efforts for last night. I had
Thank you.
amazing time. Um, it's kind of interesting, really. I don't know whether I looked like I was having an amazing time. That's because I was in character.
Mm.
And I mean that's an interesting sort of thing, really, is that I kept looking at myself on the video and going, God, you look miserable. But at the same point, I was channeling, barking, larking.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I mean, I always think I look miserable, but that's just because generally I'm quite miserable. So yeah, no change there. No, I mean, I didn't have the video open. I deliberately didn't have the video open for the whole thing, because it's intimidating looking at yourself, and thinking that what you're doing is going out to people and they're watching and paying attention, and it's a little, I've been on stage quite a few times before, and the brilliant thing about being on stage is that the lights normally mean you can't see anyone, but when you can see it's a packed house, that's where the fear comes in.
yeah,
And yeah, but being able to see myself on screen, it's a little intimidating, but it's really exhilarating, and I would recommend to anybody to give it a go at some point. Run a game first. I would recommend trying to run a game not in front of people, unless you're really comfortable being in front of people. But yeah, no, I'd really recommend anyone give it a go, especially if you not great at public speaking like myself. I'm quite shy, which people might not believe, but I am incredibly shy.
excellent. That's okay. I'm trying to because I can't move screens. I'm trying to get YouTube up on my phone so that I can
Uh,
just check chat. I don't know if you can check
I'm
chat
in
with me.
chat. I'm in chat.
Yeah.
We've got Elsa there, so hello,
Hi,
Elsa.
Elsa. Sorry, I'm not able to interact at the moment because of
See,
technologies.
I've got three screens. Yeah,
You've
I'm
got three
surrounded by
screens.
screens.
Yeah, no, it's all super good. So, I mean, tonight's 6 o'clock club. I'm pleased to be back. I'm pleased to have Christian back. We're going to chat a little bit more about last night's actual play, and then I'm going to do all the catch-up stuff of um, sort of what's going on this week. I kind of touched on it, but it was very much a test sort of video last night of the technology. A couple of announcements to make for games this weekend that are not directly scheduled. Um, so yeah, so business as usual. Tomorrow and Friday, not entirely sure what I'm doing. I'll be flying solo unless someone else decides to volunteer to jump into Christian's very warm seat. Um, but I'll most likely tomorrow night be chatting about tonight's game and maybe answering some questions. We might trawl our Discord and see if any questions have been
Ooh,
raised, and
exciting. Yeah.
then Friday it'll be a review of the week and how terrible it's been. Um,
Yes, it's not been good. It was very touch and go last night for last night's 6 o'clock club.
uh,
We even had the technical wizard come and help us.
Yeah, and also like the thing I was really nervous about, or kind of frustrated about, was we had an actual play, which we was planning to do live straight after, and I mean let's talk about that now. Let's go straight
Yeah,
into that. Um, I mean I know I keep saying it, but I had great fun.
that's good.
Um,
I'm really glad. I mean, ultimately, I like to have players enjoy themselves in my game, and that's kind of my main goal, really. And I hope people watching it enjoyed it as well, because it's slightly different running a game. I think it feels slightly different running it when you're running an actual play.
uh,
Certainly to me.
yeah, I think I think you're more focused. I mean,
Mm.
I always try not to get into sort of remote sort of play, going
Yeah.
through the numbers. Because I do this for a living, I want to give a performance every time I run a game, and
Yes.
I want it
Yeah.
to feel different every time you play. Well, same because you want that comfortable. We're in this campaign, but at the same point, not just going through the numbers. Um,
Yeah.
but I think having an audience, when I've run actual plays in the past, I try I'm very much focused on trying to make the game rather
Mm.
than it's a show for the audience. But I do have the audience in mind as well, so I try and run it as pure as I can. But um, there is always that thought of the audience there that I think gives you a little bit extra edge.
It does, yeah, it does. I think it keeps, for me, I find it keeps my mind feeling quite sharp.
Yeah,
Because otherwise, I find, I mean, I run a game, I run two games weekly. So I run Shadowrun, which is what I'm wearing on my t-shirt at the moment, and I run D&D on a Saturday night, and it's the same, largely the same group in both. And I find with those groups, obviously, there's a lot less explanation. We're all really comfortable with each other. There's fewer questions around things. We've played together a long time, so. But I think certainly with an actual player, more mindful that not only do the players might not know the system, but the audience might not actually know the system as well, which is probably why I tried to make sure at certain points I explained things, like different bits of lore or different bits of rules that maybe if we were in a game, I probably wouldn't do it, or I
yeah,
would probably have relied on people with rule books and all that other stuff to kind of just look it up themselves. Um, I also find, and this is just generally for me in games, I don't know when to stop, and I mean that in a I have an idea of what the situation's going to be, and then my mouth continues when and goes, "This would be a really good idea. I'm going to put this in," and then my brain hasn't caught up to it, and then it catches up and goes, "But why did you do that, Kristian? You didn't put that in your original notes. Why did you do that?" And sometimes it turns out really good. Sometimes it doesn't turn out really good. There were some elements last night that just kind of popped into my head and my mouth just said them.
yeah,
And I was like, oh, that was a good idea. And things happened. Um, yeah, it was from my point of view, I loved it. I love running games. You were a great set of players. It was fun seeing everyone's different motivations and everyone's characters kind of coming together and gelling. I think you all work together really, really well.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, what's your opinion? I know you said you really enjoyed it, which is good, but
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that I'm always conscious of has got nothing to do with you, Blades in the Dark. It's any game that I play in is not taking up too much time
mm,
from or drawing the attention across to me, because I think as a forever GM, you constantly, as soon as there's a silence, you instinctively try and fill that silence.
yes, very much so.
Um, So I think the challenge for me was to let that silence happen a little bit,
Yeah,
and also to keep trying to sort of make sure the other players were getting to do things.
yeah, and I think you did that quite well. And I think agree with you there. I find because until I joined the server, from leaving Nottingham to joining the Twisted Narrative, I was a forever GM again. So
Mhm.
I find that I, as a player, certainly I found in the Ebron game, I tend to corral people together a bit.
Mhm.
Try and say, right, well, as Iron Bar, right team, what's the plan? And try and get everyone doing what I tend to do as a GM, which is saying to my players, what are you planning? What are you doing? Quite often it's just what are you doing? Um, I don't I mean again, for me it's lovely to play
Yeah,
with different sets of players because GMing for different sets of players because I have run for the same group for quite a long time. So running for slightly different people is a joy. It's such a it's really really nice. One thing I will say about last night was you've probably noticed now I've tried to use the title. I took
Yeah,
your
yeah,
advice from
yeah,
previous 6 o'clock clubs, and I thought, right, I'm going to start from a title and kind of work back from that. So
yeah.
make mine a double. I was like, right, 2 jobs. And the second job will have to change and shrink depending on how long you take on the first job. And obviously,
Absolutely.
the first job was one of the jobs you could have done last time.
Yeah. No, I loved it. It's just nice. It feels like it's a product.
Mm,
In a non-corporate sort of way. It feels like it's been designed. It's been
yeah.
put together, and it's nice. It's a nice little nod. Yeah, I loved it very, very much so.
And did you like the little nod to your games in there?
I picked up the ribbons thing.
Yeah. That wasn't the one I'd intended though,
All
but
right.
there wasn't enough time to put the other one in there. And it
Oh,
was it was one only the Eberron players would really get.
all right.
There was
So,
going to be a Tabitha's guest house.
all right. There we go then. No, it's
Yeah.
nice, and it's quite fun to use those and do little. I mean, I suppose in the movie industry or TV they call them Easter eggs, don't they? Really,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
or in jokes or whatever. I think the other quite interesting thing that I've found, I guess, is that as a GM, um, I'm not scared of losing my character.
No.
Now, that doesn't mean I'm happy to throw the character away, but if the character would do something because that's what the character would do, he will do it, and I will enjoy the chaos that will ensue. But that in itself is problematic because I have to then go, right, I better design a character that's not going to mess the game up for everybody
Yeah.
else. I don't like that ever as an excuse of
No,
being
no,
disruptive
no,
in a
no.
game.
No,
Uh,
it's my guy syndrome, isn't it? Like, oh,
yeah,
that's what my guy would do.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I don't like that.
yeah,
It's always for the benefit of everybody.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I was more than happy, as I say, when he kind of lost control of himself and was barking. If it was going to cause the guy to get away, it was because that is.
Yeah,
And I'm it was quite funny. In terms of I happily embrace the downsides to things rather than going, oh, that's a complication, that's terrible.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like, oh, that's cool. I mean, it's not cool for us, but it'll be cool to lead into.
yeah,
um
yeah.
uh,
I think it's again, it's that suboptimal play. It's that the good side and the bad side
mhm.
can both be a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah. And because Duskfall, when you kind of read about it, I mean, your twist on it might be slightly different, is that food is really scarce, especially for the lower
Mm,
classes. They
mm.
basically, it's a bit like Soylent Green. They
Yeah,
kind of have these fungus farms, and everything
yep,
is just like this gruel and that, which is
yeah.
what I really liked. And yeah, he's not greedy. It's just like
No.
when there's like real food about, it's like, well, I'm going to try and get some of that real food.
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, I mean that is that I'm trying to run it kind of quite
Yeah,
stock,
yeah,
really. I do quite like running settings stock. It was one of the reasons why for the job, I mean, I tried to make a thing of the courses,
yeah.
which I will say I did do research on what a Victorian dinner party would serve,
Lovely.
as in what courses there would be, and it would say, it would take hours to finish, and it would be soup, fish,
Yeah, yeah.
meat, sweet, cheese, and then tea and biscuits, and then retiring to the drawing room. So I didn't go any further than that because then I started to get really hungry.
No, absolutely, and it felt real as well. I mean, that was a great thing, It felt that, and I think in terms of games design, that was because, like in Blades in the Dark, there's a clock,
Yeah,
and that felt almost like an in-game clock because we knew the courses were going, and you could kind of tell the ticking down of that towards them sort of coming up to the safe or whatever. Yeah, no, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think the rest of the players did as well. I
Yeah.
have uploaded it to the video on
Yes.
demand and shared
Yes.
it across our socials. And I
So
will
if
put it
you're
into this
cool.
into the comment section
Yeah.
down
Wow.
below. If anybody wants to go and have a look at it, please do.
Yeah. And hopefully next month I'll be running another one.
Yeah, well, what was the date on that? Well, it was the
I don't remember.
23rd or something.
I think it's the 23rd, yes.
It'll be a
Um,
Tuesday. I'm just
yeah.
terrified of touching anything on my computer at the moment, so I
No, no,
can't
no.
look everything.
And I have a calendar over there somewhere.
Yeah, no,
It's on another screen. Another screen. It's lost to me.
yeah. Well, I very much look forward to playing into that again. Really.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I mean, uh, we did think about kind of playing suboptimal and things like that. I mean, we had the mentioned it yesterday briefly, but the Feng Shui game over the weekend that was a lot of fun. I was trying to in that one I was trying to play a Columbo-esque character that didn't really like killing things, but did if he had to. But that was quite fun to kind of think about ways not to use the gun and
Yeah,
do other things. And yeah, I quite like systems where you can get away with doing pretty much whatever you want, provided you can argue it.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, with Feng Shui, it is a cinematic action game, but it doesn't have to be. The way that I view it is that, like movies, they have ratings. Is it
Mm.
ratings? Certificates,
Yes. Yeah.
certifications, whatever it's called. Um, so it can still be an action movie. It could be PG. It could be a 15.
Won't be a
So
very good action movie. It's PG.
you don't know some of the cartoons that you kind of watch that are PG actually. I mean, would Tom and Jerry these days be classed as a PG?
Ooh, yeah. I think it probably would actually
Yeah.
for the original ones.
I
Yeah.
mean, I love them, but there was a
Mm.
substantial amount of violence in those.
Yes,
Um,
yes, and problematic things as well.
yeah. Again, because of my psyche, it was mainly the slapstick comedy that I
Yes,
noticed as a
yeah.
kid.
See,
Uh,
thinking about cartoons,
yeah,
I really liked Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote.
yeah,
Those were my favourites.
yeah, yeah.
But did you know he originally used to talk?
Did he?
Yeah,
No.
yeah. In the first few where he was against Bugs Bunny, he talked.
Right.
And quite a smarmy voice, like Wile E. Coyote, super genius. And then when he was against the Roadrunner, they got rid of the talking bit.
Yeah. And wrote one is meep meep. Very good.
Well, yeah. Well,
Very
they
good.
probably only recorded it once and doubled it up on the tape, but that's
Yeah.
from The Simpsons. I just stole that joke from, so there we go. Yeah. So what's going on? What's going on tonight then, Andy? What's going on the rest of this week and whatever?
Yeah. So I like to do a shout out for today's game, but also the players in it. We'll call that up. Fortunes Untold. We've got Fliss, we've got Roz, we've got James, and we've got Adrian. It's 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, and they are in Faerun. They're in currently the Sea of Fallen Stars amongst all of the pirate islands. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to get the weapon of the admiral of the debauchery, which is the head of the pirates, because it's a legendary weapon, and it's one of 4 legendary weapons that was used in the Wish War. This was a
Wow.
primordial war back before the world was really developed, and these elemental creatures, these jinn or ifrit or dao or marids, um, back then they were the stuff of legends that tell about them today. They could they could use wish at will,
Yeah.
sort of thing, really, which is problematic. And the story of the Wish War is that because this war involved the rewriting of reality and tearing it apart and reshaping it, it caused basically almost the universe to collapse. Um, and there are rumours, and that's one of the reasons why they all went their separate ways and went, you know what, perhaps we should stop doing this.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
No, that makes sense.
um, but these artifacts are remnants of that war. Um, but there's rumours that the war might be starting again, and they're trying to get hold of this. So currently, they got one of them, which was from the desert, and that was the fire-based thing. This is obviously the water-based thing, and um, they're a good aligned party, so they don't really want to join the pirate nation, the debauchery
No,
to do
no.
this. So they have fallen in with with a captain that is ex debauchery that wants to take it over, but he
Okay.
wants to make amends for what he's done.
Yep.
So
Yep.
he's basically his sell to the players, which is genuine. They've done insight rolls and spent time with him. Is fundamentally once he becomes the admiral, he wants to turn it into an independent state and use
Okay.
use the pirates basically as sea traders
Yeah.
rather than as that. They've got so much wealth now anyway. It's kind of they're doing piracy, because that's all they know.
Yeah.
Um, but he's hoping to get enough support and help to overthrow the admiral, so he can then. There's a lot of politic going on, and part of the things that they're doing at the moment is they have met a sea witch called Peggy, and she has the ability to put ships in bottles, but real ships in bottles,
Yes. Yeah.
which they consider to be, well, that might really help us out if we're going up against a fleet of pirates. But she needs a component which is this liquid sun.
Right.
So
Yep.
it is being stored underneath the ocean at the moment, just a small drop of it,
It's
because
never like at the supermarket, is it?
well, it's liquid sun. If it's not kept in a safe environment, then all
Well, and
sorts of
Tesco's not safe.
health and safety.
Yeah.
Um, so it's kind of, it was hidden, but the cave system that it was hidden in has been taken over throughout the ages by some Merrow, and they fought their way through there. And fundamentally, the final encounter now, which is a mutated two-headed shark that they need to take
Ooh.
down to hopefully gain their prize and carry on with their story. So it's quite intricate. A great group of players. I've mentioned this before. James, who plays Deep Gnome Mage Wizard,
Yep.
very creative with the spells,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the kind of player that I really like being creative with spells. We occasionally come into contact with players that go, "I want to cast this," and you kind of have to go, "Well, it doesn't really do that." Um, this spell does. I mean, perhaps take this spell instead.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's not that kind of creativity. It's not trying to put a square peg into a round hole. It's using the right peg and being really sort of creative with it to create some very interesting effects. And it's a delight to watch and be part of.
Nice. Very
Um,
nice.
so I'm very excited about that game.
Yeah.
As I say, a very really nice party interactions and everything else. Pretty much like Eberron game, we can have sessions that there's a lot of role playing going on and not
Yeah.
necessarily a lot of
Yeah.
action. And then there's plenty of action occasionally when they have to do things. So that is going on in about 30 minutes time. So very much looking forward to that. Tomorrow night we've got icebreakers on as well. Um, and I've spoken about this game a fair amount. We've got Jack, Joe, Sarah, James, Michael, and James in. So very much looking forward to that as well. I'll cover this in more detail tomorrow, and I'll let everybody know how Fortunes Untold unfolded tonight as well. Icebreakers is a 5th edition critical role game set in Exandria, and they have completed sort of one of the items that they wanted to collect to empower Flo's axe. They have retrieved now, and they are about to head into the Shadowfell, which is going to be great fun for me anyway. So that is going to be tomorrow night. But before we end, I've managed to persuade. I didn't really. It wasn't much of a persuasion. I just went, "Do you fancy doing this?" And they went, "Yeah." On Saturday night, I wasn't going to do this because normally it's Call of Cthulhu, but one of the players can't make it, and it's a campaign game, so it's kind of important that we have the crew together. So I decided I really want to do another actual play. I'm working hard on the metrics for the YouTube channel, and the more sort of watch hours and subscriptions we get, the better. So I decided to do Shadow Dark. I do genuinely like this game, absolutely, but it's a lot of people seem to be enthused by it at the moment. They're watching a lot of YouTube videos and everything else, but I want to do something slightly different, and I might shoot myself in the foot because it might be not the Shadow Dark that they want to watch, you know. But hey, with Twisted Narrative, we don't do usual. We always do unusual. I like to put a twist on things. So I'm taking the quick start rule set, reskinning it. It's not going to take particularly long. It just takes a little bit of imagination for a sci-fi setting. And it's always struck me that it's very grim dark, that it would make a sort of perfect horror sci-fi setting. So aliens, Event Horizon, Space Hulk, Red Dwarf, absolutely. Well, the name of the mini campaign, or West Marches, however I eventually going to run this, is called Junkers, and they are playing space salvagers. There's the remnants of an alien civilization, and some of their husks, which are their vessels that are ancient and unexplored, have drifted to the outer rim, and salvagers are rushing there to see what they can scavenge. Obviously, it's going to be fairly hazardous, fairly dangerous, with a smattering of horror. And
exciting.
If it goes well, then I plan to let the players, or the plot will move on to the alien homeworld as well. But I've been working hard on a little graphic. There we go.
See it.
It has come up now. Not entirely sure about it at the moment, but one of the problems with Shadow Dark is I kind of get the impression it should be dark graphics, because like bright and cheery just doesn't match it.
No. I can see that, especially with that font as well as like a book cover.
Yeah.
Going into Waterstones, the good bookshops are available, and just looking at the book. Oh yeah, a new James Herbert's out.
Yeah. No, I mean obviously inspiration from Alien there, and the like. But yeah, I'm very excited about it. We are going to try and do it live. It is going to be theatre of the mind. There's going to be a lot of improvisation and reskinning. So that should be launching around about 7:30 on Saturday night.
You can do that live.
Yeah, hopefully. That tech. We're not going to do anything too fancy with fancy grounds or anything else. I'm going to try and get that dice app to work, but again, I can't
Yeah.
roll dice at the moment
No,
on anything else, so because the video feeds go down. But it's
well, you can roll them on your mobile.
yeah. So it's not the end of the world. I'm sure I can figure something out, but I'm super excited. I like the idea of sort of salvaging this spaceship from an alien race that no one is familiar with.
Yeah, I like tropes like that mystery of no one's really sure what things really are and where they come from and all that sort of thing. It's why I deliberately haven't seen like Prometheus and kind of the Alien prequels and things, because I don't want to know. I don't want to know about them.
Yeah.
I'd like it being a mystery. You know, I want to keep that in my head. Like I don't want an explanation for Tom Bombadil. I just actually I don't really want Tom Bombadil, but I don't want an explanation for Tom Bombadil because I don't want that mystery. I like that mystery. I like that area of I just don't know.
I think that the mystery is part of the horror, isn't it? The unknown is far more scary than knowing something's stats or what it is or what it can do. So I'm very, very excited for this. We've got a great cast already, as I say. We've got some volunteers. We've got Kyle from last night. Matt is going to join us.
Very nice.
Yeah. And we've got Ian, and we have got Malcolm as well. So a solid group. They'll be able to sort of take the concept on quite nicely. They are aware it's a horror-based game and deaths might occur. You know, and I'm approaching it very much. I know it's Shadow Dark, but I'm approaching it not like a old school role play game, but like Call of Cthulhu. In the fact that I think that mentality of, look, you're going into this and it's not about your stats, it's not about just enjoy playing these characters. We can use the system of Shadow Dark. In fact, it's going to get a bit worse because not only will the batteries of your torches sort of glitch and go out, there might be some places where you need oxygen, and those oxygen
life
cylinders.
support systems.
So I think there's a lot of the mechanics from Shadow Dark that can be used here to give a pace to the game, but also that fear of, time is your greatest enemy here, which it's not really. It's the xenomorph that is like standing behind you that you haven't noticed yet.
But to start with, it's time.
So yeah, I'm super excited. I've been playing around with this concept for quite a while now. In Twisted Narrative times, that's probably about a week and a half. But I'm excited to see whether it works or not. It's an experiment. We're taking one rule set, reskinning it. We're not changing the rules. We're just reskinning it for a different setting. And I think the concepts in the fancy version of Shadow Dark will nicely be replaced here. So something to look forward to on Saturday. I will say as well, I am running 3 games prior to this. We've got Curse of Strahd, Endgame.
Still.
We've got Tomb of Annihilation, Endgame still, although that is even closer to the end game now. And then we've got a very nice Critical Role Diplomates. So I need to make sure I've got all of this prepped beforehand, because there is no doing it on Saturday.
No, I guess not.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking that if we do it live, we'll probably launch it at 7:30 rather than 7, because I literally finish one of the games at 7.
Yeah, you do. I mean, it's a bit different when you're doing, daisy chaining games, say like on the Sunday game. If you've come from starting another game, we as players are more than happy to wait waste a few moments for you to go get a tea or a coffee.
Yeah,
But those YouTube viewers, they're you know,
lovely.
it's
We love you
it's
all.
amazing. Thank you so much for watching this
Yeah.
nonsense.
So yeah. And Matt, who's co-writer with me for the published works that we're working on, has no idea about this scenario, but he will be taking notes, because if people like it, we might turn this adventure into our first proper published work.
Published works.
So
Wow.
so you might get to see it, and you might go, I saw
Mm,
that happen. So yeah, it's quite exciting. By multitasking, um, all of these things, it is helping me reduce my workload somewhat, um, because I am trying to do about 20 million things all at the same time.
really, Andy?
Yeah,
Really?
I
No,
know
I never would have thought that
it's not
about
like
you.
me.
No,
It's not like me at
no.
all.
I really don't know how you do it, because I ran last night's game and I was dead afterwards. And when I run the Shadow Run on a Thursday night, I run D&D on a Saturday night. I can only run or even be in one game at a time. And then to do multiple, I just don't have any energy left. I just want to fall
Yeah.
asleep. I want to crawl into bed and sleep.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm perhaps a little crazy. Maybe it's just practice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but I think my enthusiasm helps a lot. I just genuinely love running games, and
Yeah.
I love, I love the interaction, the socialization. So that is, genuinely a positive thing that I look forward to. But I am very, very excited about this. Uh, for all those reasons. One, it's Shadow Dark. Two, it's new. Three, we might turn it into a publication. Four, it's an
Yeah.
actual play. It's going to be a highlight, of this week, if the technology holds out.
It'll be fine.
Uh,
It'll
uh,
be fine. And I'll watch it Sunday. So,
Excellent. Well, I'll be
because I
very,
do D&D on Saturday night. So,
yeah, I will be very interested on Monday to hear your
Tuesday.
opinions. Oh yeah, Tuesday. Yeah, scheduling clash. I'm supposedly having a day off on Monday, but I'll do a pre-record.
You
But Tuesday,
you
thank you for
do
reminding
deserve
me.
days off, you do get days off.
There's a difference in the fact that I kind of love what I do, but I've got an enforced day off. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Take it. Take it. Take it.
absolutely. But I
Yeah.
will be doing a pre-record of this week at Trusted Narrative for Monday, and then we'll perhaps talk about Shadow Dark Junkers on Tuesday.
Indeed, indeed. Because I will happily say that I don't think it's a system I'd want to play, but I quite enjoy watching people play
Yeah,
it. So, yeah, there are a few systems like that where I don't. I think for me, it's not for me.
yeah.
But I definitely enjoy watching it. So yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that.
This one should be more interesting, I say, because it's theatre of the mind. So
Yeah,
we'll
I
see.
like that.
We'll see where it goes.
I
Right.
actually find it easier to watch actual plays that are theatre of the mind
Yeah.
over ones with the battle map.
Yeah.
Because I like it's more of a podcast format. I can just have it on.
Yeah. You don't feel you need to be kind of watching the screen.
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent stuff. Right. Well, I've got 20 minutes, so I'm going to need to go and get ready for Fortunes Untold, which I am, as I say, very much excited about. Thank you very much for listening. Anybody in chat, or if you're watching on catch up, really appreciate it. I will be on tomorrow. No idea what I'm doing tomorrow, but join us at 6 o'clock. I look forward to it. And thank you again for last night and for joining me this week as well, Kristian. Really, really appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
No worries. So, without further ado, have a good rest of evening, and I will catch you all tomorrow. Thanks very much, everybody. Bye for now.